Good morning and welcome to the Honor and Knowledge channel. This is Friday, December 5th. To get right to it, on the Hungry Strike for America official sign, there's a 20th star. So yep, I've made the big 2-0. There's going to be more about the Hungry Strike for America towards the end of this video. For right now, let's get into the playbook that the Democrats are using for their political shenanigans. If you notice, by the Hungry Strike for America, there's a new book. The book Dirty Little Secrets, published in 1996. And the subtitle is The Persistence of Corruption in American Politics. That gives us the Democrat playbook. Interestingly, one of the two authors is the gentleman that helped found GPS Fusion. You might remember GPS Fusion. That organization was heavily involved in funding the Russian hoax. So what's going on right now? Similar to the Russian hoax? Well, one of their big plays in their playbook is to coordinate between American politicians, the legacy media, and the deep state and the government. We saw this recently when Senator Mark Kelly and 5 others made that terrible video with regard to advice, quote unquote, to military people for them not to follow illegal orders. That was extremely terrible on their part. By the way, I'm a retired Navy captain. So how is that part of their playbook? Well, they were setting themselves up to have the basis of doing an impeachment of President Trump once they regain, they think, the House in 2026. Problem is, of course, that they'll never get the Senate in 2026. We need to get a bigger majority in the Senate, of course, but we need to retain the House. So back to their play. They were setting everything up so that they can do an impeachment. And what was part of that impeachment? Well, the boat strikes against the drug boats that were coming through the Caribbean and the Pacific to bring death to our country. As you can see, the legacy media is hot on that one, along with some of the same people that made that video. Now, this book I will use in the future to provide a lot more information with regard to the House and Senate campaigns. The bottom line is, the Democrats are just setting themselves up to have an excuse to use for impeachment, as well as maybe during the campaign stuff. It is time to stand up for America, and that's what President Trump is doing, and that is what the military is doing. Now, moving on, something great big to celebrate. The 7th House District in Tennessee special election was won by Congressman Van Epps. This was a wonderful victory, about 9% difference. Yes, the Democrats got a little bit more than history would indicate, and the Republicans therefore got a little bit less. However, in a special election at a weird time right after Thanksgiving, it's not unusual for having this kind of result. We won, we kept that House seat. By the way, there's another House seat up for a special election in January. We'll talk more about that later on. Now let's talk redistricting. Well, actually, let's let Speaker Johnson talk about redistricting. I found this right after I had created my own discussion, but Speaker Johnson does it much better.
The Supreme Court says Texas can use newly redrawn congressional maps in the midterms next year. So, Mr. Speaker, that's a win for Republicans by the looks of it. How many extra seats does that mean for the GOP?
Well, I would say it's a win for common sense and the rule of law. What the court finally affirmed is what we've known all along. Texas had a legal right to redraw the lines and to do it in a fair way that reflects their population, and that's what the court has said. There's many other states in various stages of that right now. About 14 different states are redrawing lines and in various stages of litigation. So we don't know what the final number will be. I believe our party will net seats at the end of that. But here's the thing. I've got to win with whatever maps are produced, and we will. We have a great record to run on, great candidates. We're excited about the midterms.
Governor DeSantis was with me earlier today, and we're going to run the tape a little later on the show. And he says, yeah, they're moving forward in Florida with redistricting. Sure. That's what they want to do. So if you add Texas and Florida and the other states which will move in favor of Republican seats,
yes,
you're going to pick up an extra 10 or 20?
I don't know if it'll be that large because we've got blue states doing the same. But when it all sorts out, we'll net seats. Again, I liked the maps even before the current redistricting battles began. As we sit here right now, there are 13 House Democrats sitting in districts that Trump won. There's another 21 of them sitting in districts he came within 5 points of winning. Conversely, there's only 3 House Republicans seated today in a Kamala Harris district. So what that means is we have a lopsided map. It's a very favorable map for us, the best we had in about 30 years, which means we play offense. We're going to flip blue seats to red because we're going to run on this extraordinary record of what we've done.
Redistricting is basic, raw, nasty politics.
It is, and
that's what it is.
And some of us regret all that, but it is what it is, and at the end of the day, it's going to benefit the American people.
So the bottom line is, really don't know everything about redistricting yet, especially because the Supreme Court decision is very important. That will result in redistricting efforts going forward in multiple states, including Florida. Now let's move on to the Hungry Strike for America. Good news there also, just like the 7th House District in Tennessee, 20th pound lost. That's pretty good. I'm doing hard exercise. It's amazing how things are improving. And it's amazing how things will continue to improve in our country when we, the Republicans, retain the House and the Senate. For about 50 years, the federal courts have been extremely activist with regard to moving towards the leftist side with regard to their decisions. I believe that at least a generation has to occur where the Republicans are in big control over the federal government. Not to destroy anybody, but to preserve the strength of our country and to make America great again, make us healthy again, and all those other sayings that you want to bring up. America is important for the world. The stronger America is, the stronger the United States of America is, the better the world is. Strength will provide peace. Remember that old saying, peace through strength. By the way, how did I lose the 20th pound over Thanksgiving? Well, I actually weighed myself 2 days after Thanksgiving, or 3 days, Sunday morning. So Thanksgiving, ate a lot leftovers on Friday and Saturday. Weighed myself Sunday morning. I had gained 9 pounds, mostly in water weight, I believe, because over the next 2 or 3 days, I lost basically all of it. I did do intermittent fasting on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. In one of the future videos, I'll talk about that, about how I do it. But if you're interested in intermittent fasting, it's all over the place on YouTube. Just search for intermittent fasting and you'll find all kinds of advice. Now, as part of the Hungry Strike for America, besides that official sign, I also have the official map of the country. And I color in states. And now I have colored in the 20th state, Texas. Well, I believe we've come to the end of our video. And as always, thank you for watching this. Thank you for your time. God bless you. God bless President Trump and his administration. And God bless the United States of America. See you next week.